So we'll be doing a sound meditation today. It's a sound practice. So the idea would be to be aware of the sounds in and around us. So I request you to just get into a posture that is comfortable for you. If you're seated, the back straight, in a posture which is keeps you aware rather than makes you sleepy. And if you're lying down, then just in a posture which is comfortable as you lie down on your back and keeping your hands by your side. And for if you're seated, keeping your hands on your lap with your palms facing upwards to the ceiling. And I also request to switch off the phone. If you have your phones by your side, switch off, put them on silent so that for the next 10 to 15 minutes, you are in the practice and not getting distracted. Okay. So let's start by noticing the basically the touch or the surface that you are seated on or you are lying on. So just noticing for a few seconds the contact that your body makes with the surface where you are seated or lying. Just noticing how your body is rested in this moment. And slowly noticing the contact your feet is making with the surface, if it's the floor or your slippers, or if you're wearing socks, or if you're lying down, then noticing where your feet are in contact with the bed sheet or the sofa. So just noticing the contact your feet is making with the surface beneath. And taking a few moments to also notice the temperature around the feet, noticing the air surrounding the feet, whether it is cool or warm, noticing that. Also noticing the texture of the surface your feet is in contact with, whether it is rough or smooth. If it's on a carpet or a cushion, how does the texture feel? Or if it's against a floor, is it rough or smooth? And taking a few moments to see what are the sensations present here in your feet, around your feet. What does these sensations feel like? And in the same way, just quickly scanning your entire body and noticing the areas that are in contact with the floor or the chair where you're seated, the entire body, your arms, how are they rested? How does it feel? What's the temperature? What are the sensations? Doing a quick scan from head to toe and noticing when the body is in contact, how does it feel? And if you still have your eyes open, then I request you to close your eyes. And if you're seated and you do not want to close your eyes, you still can lower the gaze about 60 degrees angle in front of you on the floor. And quickly just scanning your body once again from head to toe. Now, gradually bringing your awareness to the sounds around you and inside of you. So, what are the sounds that you hear in this moment. And these could be sounds inside of you, for example, any sort of stomach rumbling or your heartbeat, if you can hear that. And sounds outside or in the room, say the sound of the fan or the AC or even the clock ticking. And then there are sounds that are outside the room or the house, but coming from outside, maybe from the window or the door, like some footsteps outside or kids playing, screaming, shouting, crying, laughing, people voices, even the traffic sound outside, the cars, the motorbikes passing by, or could be some animals outside, birds chirping, so noticing any sounds that come from outside. It could even be the sound of the wind, the air, the rain, so noticing all of that. And do not worry about labeling them or naming these sounds. Like we consciously tend to label them. If this is a child crying, so not labeling, but instead allowing them to arise, allowing yourself to hear them and pass through them, like not sticking or clinging with that sound for any longer, just hearing and letting it pass by. Not wanting to feel a particular sound as a pleasant one, or not wanting to, or even trying to judge a sound as an unpleasant, say honking sounds like unpleasant. So, not doing that, but just listening, hearing, and letting it go. Just accepting any sound for what it is, not trying to interpret it as a familiar or a unfamiliar sound, but just hearing it, receiving it with interest, being curious about it, listening, hearing, and letting it pass. And imagine that you're a child hearing all these sounds, patterns for the first time. So, how curious a child would be, just being that curious as if you're hearing these sounds for the first time, simply listening to them with curiosity, but not judging them. And so that you feel the vibration of the sound and respond to them emotionally rather than trying to evaluate them, um, or wanting to intellectually understand these sounds, but just feeling them. We are not judging the sounds, but we're just trying to feel them, feel the vibrations or hear them. And just like in any other practice, here also you would notice that sometimes your mind will wander. You might go into a thinking mode, maybe trying to plan something, daydreaming, or just thinking that You really like one sound or dislike another in that moment, and as soon as you can, becoming aware of it and switching to a focused mode of once again observing the sound, bringing your mind slowly, gently back to just hearing the sounds. Maybe letting yourself know, the mind wandered. So I'll gently bring it back to once again hearing the sounds. Remember, we're not trying to judge the sounds, but just to be with them. And no matter how many times the mind wanders, we'll gently once again bring it back to listening, hearing, and gently reminding ourselves that the nature of mind is to jump from one tree to the other, and gently bringing it back to hearing the sound. Also, now just try to focus on the distance or the closeness of a sound. So just noticing how far this sound may be coming from. What is its pitch, frequency, strength, length? Is it coming and going, or whether it is a continuous sound? Is it repeating? And sooner or later, you may also become aware of the spaces between the sounds, like the sound of the silence in between. Maybe at some point you notice that your hearing actually appears more acute and more focused. So, noticing that as well. And just enjoying this feeling and remember it for future practice as well. So, just the ability to discover silence is as useful as the sounds. So, noticing the silence, the silence in between of these sounds. Continue to hear the sounds. Continue to not judge them, not attaching any meaning to them, not labeling them, and remembering to focus back if the mind wanders, bringing your awareness and attention back to hearing the sounds. Once again, noticing the silence in between, of all the sounds that you hear. Noticing the length, the strength of the sounds, and without labeling, just being curious of the sounds. Slowly focusing gently on the sensations in the body and to the point of contacts your body makes with the surface where you're seated or lying on. Once again, connecting with the floor or the surface where your feet are, where your feet may be firmly planted, bringing your focus there, and any body sensations or feelings, bringing your attention there. Slowly and gently wiggling your fingers or toes, giving gentle movements to your hands and feet. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes if you have your eyes closed and coming back to the room.